Hello and welcome to Conversations with Terryanne. It's, wow, I'm having my fourth guest since we started the show and the first man on Conversations with Terryanne. I'm really excited today to have Tedd Josiah, founder and creative director of Jokajok. Though I know him from way back in the day when he was a producer and a musician in his own right. So it's very exciting to see where your life has turned into. And
who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Yeah,
Did you see it coming?
I never saw it coming. God kept on giving me hints, but I didn't see them.
What were some of those hints?
When I was 15 years old, I used to love designing bags.
Really?
Yes, seriously. And I only realized that there's a bag I designed last year. And when it came to life is when I remembered, oh my God, this was in my mind all along. Yeah.
So the dream was there?
It was there. It was there. Just
the pact was
in the recess
there?
of my mind. Yeah. It didn't click.
So how did Jokajok start out?
Jokajok started out because I wanted to do a travel show. I still want to do a travel show. I'm still trying to do a travel show. And I wanted a bag that I could travel with to sort of promote the travel show. So I went to all these bag makers and asked them, I'm trying to do this. I'll even pay for it. Can you make me a bag? And everybody was like, not really into it. And one bag maker one day said, well, why don't you make it yourself? I thought to myself, that makes sense. Let me try and figure this one out. And that was my journey. Literally, my journey began by a safari bag based on the fact that we wanted to do a safari show, a travel show. And the first bag we launched was called our safari bag.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it all unfolded in front of our eyes because,
Yes.
On Instagram,
Yes.
Following your story with Jay, the loss of your wife, and suddenly we're like Jokajok. What's the name about?
Again, some things I tell people, the mind is a very powerful tool. It'll store information that you don't even know it's storing. And Jokajok came about, the name itself, as a spur of the moment. We finished designing the bag. We had no logo. And so the bag maker asks me, what are we going to put? We need a logo. And this is in a restaurant. And I think to myself, Jokajok. And everybody looks at me like, where did you, how? You didn't even think about this. I said, don't worry, let's just dash to the studio. I have a logo in mind. And I go and I design the logo literally in 3 minutes.
So you personally designed the logo?
Yes. And I give it to the guy and he's like, how did you even think this up? It makes a lot of sense to me, but how did you think it up? And I say, I don't know. Later on in life is when I realized that it's Josiah Qatar Josiah. And our names had been put together.
Whoa.
Again, the recess of your mind does things future-proofed.
Yeah.
And it stores stuff that you don't even know it's storing. It just keeps on.
And only the mind of a creative can tap into it.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about your personal life.
Yeah.
You've, I followed you on Instagram for a long time. So, proud dad mom, which I first had with you. And I know there's a tragic story behind it, which we have, we've read about on social media and of course with your journey. And just so that I can get away from that topic, but I look at it as a mom. I'm a mother of, my daughter turns 4 next month.
Oh, wow.
Jay just turned 4.
Yes.
And, I'm like, the saddest nights were the nights when you're alone. And I remember one time when I broke up with my daughter's dad saying, I was so used to having him next to my bed that I did not know how to be alone in bed. And this was just a breakup. It wasn't final. What was it like for you?
It was very abrupt. It was literally one moment you're having dinner with somebody and the next moment you're asleep. And we had a routine. As soon as the child would wake up, I would also get up, because she's breastfeeding the child, but she's getting hungry. So I would go and make drinking chocolate and tea and stuff. And so I got up to make the drinking chocolate and tea, and she says, I have a headache. I'm like, that's strange, because she had had a headache right through the whole day. So I said, shall I get you painkillers? And she says, yes, get me some painkillers. I get some painkillers. She throws up the painkillers, and I'm like, okay, stop feeding the child, put your clothes on, we're going to hospital, because I assumed that was malaria, and I didn't want to even, waste time. We got to hospital, and an hour later she was dead from a headache. Till this day, it feels surreal, because you're talking to a person, they're okay, it's just a headache, have a Panadol and you'll be okay. Next minute they're gone, yanked out of your life, and yanked out of your child's life, and your child is 3 months. I remember just getting that news, and I was alone in hospital with the child. I drove with my child in my hand, and I sat down in the driver's seat, and I just held Jay, and I said, we're going to have to figure this out. We're just going to have to figure this out. We don't have any mommy anymore. It's just you and I. We're going to have to figure this out. And our journey started there. We've been figuring stuff out. Thankfully, God has been gracious enough to grant me a child that doesn't fall sick easy. She's just hardcore. She just goes. And a child who's not really fussy. Sometimes I ask myself, what would have happened if she was really, really fussy, Not to say that we haven't had our ups and downs. We've had our ups and downs. Being a dad, trying to figure out how to be a mom, she had never had water. She had never had anything other than breast milk. I had to start the journey of which formula works. And there's so many formulas in the country, but they don't tell you. You just have to figure it out, because you're going to give her this one, she's going to diarrhea. You're going to give her the other one, she's going to be constipated. You're going to give her the other one, she's going to have a rash. And it took us about a month to figure out. And then she has very bad eczema. I didn't know it was eczema, and it just, the pediatrician gave us the wrong medication, and it spiraled way out of hand. To a point where now it's a chemist who came up with a solution, and the solution was pretty expensive, but it worked for her. The journey of figuring it out was tough.
And we watched you try to figure it out, and we're still watching you trying to figure it out, but with so much pride. And I'm sure the mothers who are watching will agree with me that a 3-month-old baby is a lot of work. And it's a lot of work for a woman. And I'm not trying to, reduce the role of a man in a baby's life, but we're sort of biologically sort of prepared to nurture at that point. And I'm wondering where your strength came from, because your parenting has been very intentional. And we can see that, you play with her, you used to give her a bath, you're changing her. Where did that strength come from?
It came from God, and it came from the fact that your child can't sit and poo all day. So, and there's nobody coming to save you. Literally, what happened was Jay's mom passed away on a Saturday. The nanny we had, her grandfather passed away on the same Saturday, so she bounced. And then all my sisters are abroad. So I found myself with a little girl by myself. And I said, well, I have to pick myself up. I wanted this child. When people ask me where the strength came from, I say this: you have to be intentional. I wanted Jay. She wasn't, oops, honey, I'm pregnant. I really wanted this child. We both wanted the child. So for me, every time I would feel like I want to give up, I think to myself, but I wanted this child, so I've got to do this, There's no other option, and she's got nobody else to fall back to.
When I asked you where your strength came from, you said God. And sometimes when something so tragic happens, it sometimes affects how you see God. Some people would be angry. What did that affect how you look at, God or the universe, or,
It did. I was very angry. I was very angry at God because for the first time in my life, I felt like I had done everything right, So I was like, God, really? I'm trying not to be a bad boy. I'm being a good man. I'm trying to raise my child and just have a nice family. And this is what you give me? I remember actually saying those words. I said, wow, God, really, wow. So I was mad, and then I went into a serious depression. But nobody really knew it because, men are supposed to lose something and just stiff up a lip and keep on with
strong.
life. Yeah,
Men don't
be strong.
Cry.
I went into a space where the nanny would come in the morning. I had a day bag, so she would come in the morning, and I would give her the child, and I would lock myself in the room, and I would stay in the room until 4 p.m. when the nanny leaves, and I would just be in a depressed state every single day of my life. Then I got to a point where I was like, I can't be angry at God. I can't be depressed and do nothing. Life has to go on. So I've got to figure out how I'm going to get out of this hole of depression and anger and grief, and how I'm going to sort of celebrate life and celebrate what's happened, because everything is written in God's books. So he knew that this was going to happen, and he knew that after this another journey was going to begin, and he has already authored it. So I might as well just embrace it and go with it.
You've mentioned your sisters were abroad. So who was there for you?
I had a couple of close friends who came in and sort of just lent support, be it for a month, be it for a week, and would check up on me a lot, which was helpful. They were mainly male friends. You find that for me also as a single dad, in that situation, I had to be very careful because opportunists can take, take advantage of you.
Can I be the new mom?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, they pretend they want to be the new mom, but they just, unfortunately want the limelight and want a piece of what they see on social media, which is not really, it's being a parent is not fun.
No.
And people think it's fun because they just see laughing babies on Instagram, and they don't see the days when you want to pull your hair out because you've not slept.
The sleepless nights.
Yes,
the
you've not slept.
Exactly.
And people don't see all of that. They just see the glamour, and they think, oh, wow, it's such a romantic tale. It is not a romantic tale. When you're going through depression, you've not slept, and your child still needs your attention and needs to be fed at 3 in the morning, and it's you who has to do it.
Let's talk about that for a bit. Parenting. Parenting in this generation is not easy. Some say, parents are very busy. Parents are absent. Parents are focusing on their own growth. Parents are focusing on money and not enough on their children. In your opinion, what is a good parent? What is intentional parenting?
A good parent is an intentional parent. I am going to spend time with my child at such and such a time. I'm going to provide for my child X and not Y. I'm not going to look into the world and look at what the world wants me to be and then become that to my child. There are very many things that I've done very abstract. I didn't, for instance, people would say, your child needs a walker. I didn't buy her a walker. You need to baby-proof the whole house. I did not baby-proof the whole house. We have a joke, me and Jay. Kong, did you just Kong yourself, Because she would hit herself on something, or I would hit myself on something, and we'd laugh it off. And she would then understand that life is full of rough edges.
Wow. Whew, okay, that's intense. Tell me, there's a school of thought, depending on, who you listen to, that says, and I'm told all the time, oh, you need, a well-rounded child is one who has both parents, a mom and a dad, and is raised by both parents. Do you foresee a time you get married again?
There's no way you can say that a single parent will not do the same job as parents who are both together. Because I look at it this way. Bob Nestor Marley was raised by a single mother. Barack Obama was raised by a single mother and his grandparents. You know, his dad wasn't around. But both of these people were icons, global icons who changed the world that we live in today. How then can you say that single parents will not have successful children? You already are stereotyping, and you're stereotyping in the wrongest type of way. You know, do not judge a person because their father left or their mother died or both parents were, you know, it really, you don't know what has been written for that human being. You can't tell them, yeah, you're a human, but you're always going to play second fiddle. You're not going to play second fiddle. Will I ever remarry? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. The world, you know, you can't say, I didn't know I was going to be a bag maker. I was a successful music producer, you know. You can't write your future. You can wish or will your future, but you don't know where God is planning for you to go.
Yeah. So you, I mean, you've talked about music, and I just remember now, you know, Susanna Wio, Poxy Pressure, the late, Acheng Abura. Those were amazing days. You look back, when you look back at those days, what do you feel?
Oh, I feel like I accomplished in another life, and I'm living another life, and I hope that I accomplish in this life. I feel like God has given me two lives, you know? One where I was very successful at this, and the other where I'm also just trying to be not necessarily as successful, but leave a legacy, you know? And that's all we can do. We can try and make as much money as we can, you know, on this earth, but if we don't leave legacies, then we've lost our purpose, our God-given purpose, because God didn't make you to go out and make money. He made you to go out and make a difference, and legacies are the things that we leave that make a difference.
Is that chapter of your life closed, music?
Music is like that girlfriend that you can't ever give up.
Ah, I like that. That means we might hear something from you soon.
She's always just there. I love her, but I don't know if I want to be with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yes, I have a lot of music that I've not released, that I would like to release before the good Lord calls me, and put out there in the world.
What's your take on today's music scene? As a musician in your own right, and as a producer in your own right, what's your take about today's music scene?
I'll say what Quincy Jones and Anita Baker said about 5 years ago. They said the R&B music scene has gone to the dogs. This is nonsense that you people are doing. And these are people who, Quincy Jones produced Michael Jackson, you know. He produced all the greats. Quincy Jones is a musician in his own right. He's discovered so much black talent and been behind the black entertainment movement. For him to speak such heavy words, I thought to myself, well, what's happening? And I look at music videos nowadays. The discussion in my head has been, why is it that black music is being used to sexualize and make women look like sexual objects consistently, to a point that now black music has moved and now is sexualizing the men? All you hear about is fornication, drugs, alcoholism, fornication, drugs, alcoholism, fornication, drugs, alcoholism.
On every song.
Every single song, to a point that now when you listen to Jamaican music, that's all it's about. It's about sexual exploits, pornographic sexual exploits. You listen to R&B coming from the States with hip hop, and you're just like, oh my Lord, what is happening here? And you listen to Kenyan music, and what they're doing is they're copying what's happening on MTV and everything else, and just copy pasting it. Yet, if you want to listen to love songs, you're gonna find love songs. It's the white guys who are singing the love songs. So what the record labels are doing is they're using the black culture to kill the black people. without black people really understanding that they are being destroyed. Yet,
that's profound.
The white musicians have some very beautiful, holistic music. So, where are we going to be 30 years from now? Again, I said the recess of your mind is a very powerful tool. And you've been told that you can objectify her and you can make her into just a thing for your pleasure. What's going to happen? When you're drunk, what is going to happen? Your relationship is going to be about what? Pornographic, sexual, objectification, which is wrong.
Ted, if you were to put your money behind an upcoming or a singer who's, you know, just in the scene today, 2 or 3, who would it be?
None.
Absolutely none.
None. None. The content would have to convince me. And right now, what they have as lyrics.
Let me ask you something else, still around music, because I love music. I love bongo, which I listen to. I do not understand Amapiano at all, because I first thought Amapiano was actually a person, a singer, and later on I discovered my age betrayed me there. And then there's Nigerian music, which is also great, and some Kenyan music, which I think is good as well. But I always wonder, when I travel, I never hear Kenyan music playing. You know, if you go to Nigeria, you'll hear bongo playing. If you go to Tanzania, you'll hear Nigerian music playing. If you go to South Africa, you'll hear Nigerian music playing, bongo as well. Although they play a lot of their yes, you know, their kwaitos and their styles and their genres. What will it take to get Kenyan music to become a global brand?
The day Kenyans stop hating themselves is the day Kenyans become global artists, culturally.
Hating ourselves.
We do have a serious self-loathe, and that is just the truth. Why do I say this? If I asked a Kenyan to buy a Kenyan item that was slightly expensive, 5,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings, they would be like, it's too expensive, I'll buy it from China at 3,500. What have you just done? You've just told your fellow brother, your job is worthless. Unless you can compete with those people, I will not give you my money. So, I loathe you. I disrespect what you are doing. I do not want to support or build you. And this cuts across, not just in music. The only time we support our runners is when they're winning. When they're not winning, we don't support them. The only time we feel like we're Kenyans is during the Olympics, you know?
Wow, I love that. As a parting shot, Ted, how do you find your purpose? How do you live your purpose with purpose?
I started off as a gospel musician, and I say this because my journey has had so many twists and turns, and then I moved into just being a record producer and musician, and then I moved into television and creating that content, and then I moved into what I'm doing now, which is the bag company. In life, you will find that you have to really key into your gifts. If you don't key into your gifts, you don't have one gift, you have several gifts. If you don't key in and try and really figure them out, then you will lose seasons of your life, because each gift will enable you to go through a season in life. After which you'll move to another season and another gift will have to be called upon. You still have those gifts and you have other gifts. How do you key into that? The things that give you joy, the things that give you happiness. It's not necessarily money, but happiness. The things that when you're going to sleep at night, you can't wait to wake up in the morning to do that thing because it gives you such joy just to be in that space doing that thing. When you find yourself having joy in those things, you know that those are your gifts. and you have to hone them. You have to sort of get tutorials on them, or figure them out, or figure out how best to use them. You might just love strawberries and you want to be a strawberry farmer. There's nothing wrong in that. You know what I mean? And that in itself can become a huge success simply because you're passionate about it. And you could have gone to, you know, agricultural school and gotten your degree and everything and hate agriculture and not want to be a farmer. It was forced upon you. A lot of young people find themselves having done degrees that they did for their parents, not for them. And that's where people get confused, because, okay, so you wanted me to do actuarial science, here's the degree. Dad, enjoy your life. I'm going over there to become a fish farmer. And your dad looks at you like, what the? And, well, I've always loved fish, so, you know. Yeah. And you find that happening a lot.
Yeah. Whew, wow. I am so enlightened by this conversation, Ted. Thank you so much for making time to be on the show. And it's a shame I actually haven't bought a Jokajok bag. So I will definitely make a point to buy it this week.
Thank you very much.
And show it off.
Thank you.
Because I think you've done an amazing job building a brand and inspiring so many other young people. Also being so vulnerable with your story and telling other people that, you know, you can get the strength no matter what. And just how dynamic your seasons have been and how you have embraced them with so much passion. I would say, I mean, I'm really inspired by that. And I know that those who are watching are inspired as well. So thank you so much. Tedd Josiah, Creative Director and Founder, Jokajok.